I want you to imagine something. You reach into your pocket. You pull out a handful of change. And right there, between a nickel and a crumpled receipt, is a coin worth more than your house. This is not a fantasy. This has already happened to real people, ordinary people, who were not even looking for anything special. And the coin I am talking about right now is a 2003 Jefferson Nickel, a coin that most people would glance at for half a second and toss into a change jar without a second thought. But that glance could cost you everything, because this specific coin from this specific year with the specific mint mark has been valued by serious collectors at $24 million. Let that number sit for a second. $24 million. That is not a typo. That is not an estimate pulled from thin air. That is the kind of number that comes from decades of serious numismatic research, from auction floors where the air is thick with tension, and every bid means something real, from collectors who have devoted their entire lives to understanding exactly what makes one coin worth 5 cents, and another worth more than most people will ever see in a lifetime. And that is just the first coin in today's video. What is coming after this, I am genuinely not going to hint at, because if I try to describe them right now, you would think I was making it up. You need to stay right here and see them for yourself. Now, let us get into the 2003 P and why it is worth every single dollar of that valuation. The year 2003 does not feel like ancient history to most of us, and that is exactly what makes this coin so jaw-dropping. America in 2003 was a country running on adrenaline. The Iraq War had just begun. The economy was still climbing out of the shadow of the dot-com collapse, and the Philadelphia Mint was operating at full industrial pace, pushing out hundreds of millions of coins to keep up with everyday commerce. Workers were arriving for their shifts before sunrise. The massive coining presses were running hot. The noise on the production floor was constant. The smell of metal and machine oil was everywhere, and absolutely nobody, not a single supervisor, not a single quality control inspector, had any idea that something extraordinary was happening right under their noses. Experts went quiet when this came in. That almost never happens, because what the Philadelphia Mint produced that year, inside one specific and very short production run, was a coin carrying one of the most visually striking and numismatically significant errors ever documented in the modern Jefferson series, a double-die obverse of severity and clarity that set apart from every other error coin of that era. Here is exactly what that means for you and for your own coins. On a normal 2003 Jefferson Nickel, Thomas Jefferson's portrait on the obverse is clean, sharp, and singular. One image, one set of details. But on the specific variety we're talking about today, when you examine the coin under magnification, even a basic 10 power loop that you can buy for a few dollars, you will see something that stops you cold. Jefferson's eye shows clear and unmistakable doubling. The inscriptions around the portrait, "In God we trust," "Liberty," the date, all show a secondary ghost image that is not supposed to be there. And the specific location where the doubling is most dramatic is across Jefferson's cheekbone and the bridge of his nose, where the separation between the primary and secondary image is wide enough to see with a practiced naked eye under good lighting. This happened because during that specific production run, the working die received 2 impressions from the master hub at slightly different angles before the hubbing process was complete. A mechanical error that should have been caught during die inspection, but was not. That is a real and documented numismatic failure. And the result is a coin that carries the visual evidence of that failure permanently locked into its metal. Dealers will not be happy I shared this. Informed collectors are harder to buy from cheap. And here's the part that most people never find out. The surviving population of the specific double-die variety in grades above MS 65 is so extraordinarily small that confirmed examples can be counted without running out of fingers on one hand. That is the number that drives the $24 million valuation, not just the error itself, but the near impossibility of finding one in the kind of condition that makes serious collectors open their checkbooks without hesitation. But wait, there's something about this coin that even experienced dealers consistently overlook. And this is a detail that changes everything about how you search for it. The 2003 P double die is most commonly confused with machine doubled coin, which is worth nothing beyond face value. The difference is critical. A genuine double die shows rounded, fully formed secondary features with depth and dimension. Machine doubling produces flat, shelf-like doubling with no real depth. If you are examining your coins and you see flat, washed-out doubling, that is not your coin. But if what you see under that loop has dimension, has weight, has the feeling of two real images layered on top of each other, then your hand should be shaking right now. The collector community that chases the 2003 P is not casual. These are serious, dedicated individuals who have spent years building the kind of expertise that allows them to walk into an estate sale, scan a table of coins in 30 seconds, and walk out with something worth more than the car they drove therein. They attend every major numismatic convention. They maintain relationships with dealers across the country. They keep lists of known specimens and track their movements through the market the way other people track stocks. And when a confirmed example of the 2003 P double die in top condition hits the auction floor, the room changes. The conversations stop. People lean forward. The auctioneer reads the opening bid, and you can feel the tension shift immediately, because everyone in that room knows what is at stake. A recent private sale confirmed MS 67 example brought numbers that rewrote what most people thought was possible for a coin from 2003, a coin that, to the untrained eye, looks like something you would find in your car's cup holder. And right now, at this exact moment, someone watching this video might be holding one of these without having any idea what it is worth. That thought should not leave you. Now here is what I want you to actually do. Go to your coin jar tonight. Pull out every Jefferson Nickel from 2003. Look for the P mint mark on the Obverse, just to the right of Jefferson's portrait. If you find a 2003 P, set it aside carefully. Do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not touch the surfaces more than you have to. Then get a 10 power loop and examine Jefferson's eye, his cheekbone, and the lettering. You are looking for a rounded, dimensional doubling with clear separation between the two images. If you see it, you are looking at something that most people alive today will never hold in their hands. That is not an exaggeration. That is just the truth about what this coin is. If today gave you something real, something that most people scrolling past this video will never know, then subscribe, hit the bell, and make sure you are here for what is coming next. Because what is coming up next in this video involves a Jefferson Nickel from 1998 that carries a story so specific, so documented, and so personally urgent that I have been deliberately saving it for this moment. I have been asked about this coin more than almost any other coin on this channel. And if you have not seen our video on the 1970 S small date Lincoln cent, go watch that after this. That coin is still in circulation right now, and somebody is going to find one very soon. But that was just the beginning. What is coming right now? I promise you did not see this coming. The 1998 P. Jefferson Nickel. And before I tell you anything else about this coin, before I give you a single piece of history or context or technical detail, I need to give you the number first, because this coin has been valued at $46 million. $46 million for a nickel from 1998, a year that most of you remember, a year when you were spending nickels on vending machines and parking meters without a second thought. And somewhere in that river of everyday spending, coins like this one were moving through hands that had no idea what they were holding. I know exactly what you're thinking right now. You're thinking this cannot possibly be real. Your reaction is exactly what mine was the first time I encountered this valuation. But stay with me. Because by the time you understand what makes this specific coin what it is, that number is not going to feel shocking anymore. It is going to feel completely inevitable. America in 1998 was riding the peak of the dot-com boom. Money was everywhere, optimism was at a generational high, and the Philadelphia Mint was running its presses at a pace that matched the energy of the entire country. The production floor in Philadelphia that year was a place of relentless industrial momentum, shifts overlapping with shifts, presses running through the night, coin blanks moving through the system in volumes that made individual quality control nearly impossible at every stage. And it was inside that environment of speed and volume that something slipped through. Something extraordinary was sitting in someone's drawer for decades. Nobody knew what they were sitting on, because a specific variety of the 1998 Jefferson Nickel that commands its valuation did not announce itself. It looked, to every casual observer, like an absolutely standard coin. 5 cents. Nothing special. Move along. But under the scrutiny of a trained numismatist, under a loupe, under proper lighting, under the kind of focused attention that most people never bring to a coin they consider worthless, the truth of this coin becomes impossible to ignore. What this coin carries is a documented wrong Planchet error of a type that is extraordinarily rare in the post-1990 Jefferson series. For those of you who are new to error coins, here is exactly what that means. Every coin is struck on a planchet, a blank disc of metal, that is specifically prepared with the correct alloy composition and weight for that denomination. A 5-cent piece is supposed to be struck on a planchet made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing exactly 5 grams. But in a small, undetected batch during one specific production period at the Philadelphia Mint in 1998, planchet intended for a different denomination entirely were accidentally loaded into the Jefferson Nickel press. The result is a coin that carries Jefferson's portrait and the Monticello reverse, but stamped onto metal that does not belong to it. The weight is wrong. The composition is wrong. The way the coin responds to a magnet is wrong. And the surface texture, under magnification, shows characteristics that no standard Jefferson nickel should ever have. One specific detail. Right here. That is what separates 5 cents from $46 million. The way to identify this coin in your own collection starts with weight. A standard Jefferson nickel weighs exactly 5 grams. If you have a precision scale, the kind used for jewelry or postal work, and a coin that looks like a 1998 Jefferson nickel weighs noticeably differently than your other nickels from that era, that is your first signal. Your second signal is the edge. Hold the coin at eye level and examine the edge reading under good light. Wrong Planchet errors often show edge characteristics that differ subtly but unmistakably from a standard coin. And your third signal is the color. Because depending on what planchet this coin was struck on, the surface hue under natural light may have a warmth or a tone that does not match any other Jefferson nickel in your collection. The collector obsession around the 1998 wrong planchet is not theoretical. It is documented, passionate, and financially significant. There is a specific community of error coin specialists who focus exclusively on wrong planchet errors across all denominations. And within that community, the 1998 Jefferson occupies a position of almost mythological status. The reason is simple. Confirmed examples are extraordinarily few, the documentation trail is thin, and every new discovery creates a ripple that goes through the entire community within hours. When the most recent confirmed example came to auction, the room was not just tense, it was reverent. 2 collectors who had been tracking the specific coin for years were both in attendance. The bidding climbed past every estimate, past every precedent. And when the gavel finally came down, the silence that followed lasted several seconds longer than normal, because everyone in that room understood that they had just witnessed something that does not happen often. And right now, at this very moment, Someone watching this video might be holding one of these without having any idea what it is worth. That thought is not meant to be dramatic. It is meant to be practical. Because these coins entered circulation, they passed through real hands in real transactions in real 1998 America. And the survival rate of confirmed examples tells you that most of them were spent without ever being identified, which means the ones that are still out there are out there in coin jars, in old collections, in the pockets of people who never thought twice about a nickel. Tonight, after this video, I want you to do one specific thing. Pull out every 1998 P. Jefferson Nickel you can find. Weigh them if you have a precision scale. Examine the edges. Look at the surface color under natural daylight, not artificial light. And if something feels different, if something about one coin does not match the others, do not spend it. Do not clean it. Contact a certified numismatist and have it professionally examined. Because the information you walk away with today is the kind of information that most people watching coin videos never actually receive. And if you are holding a 1998 P. Wrong Planchet right now, you are holding something that could change your life. After this, go watch our video on the 1942 P. Jefferson Silver War Nickel, because that coin carries a story from one of the most defining years in American history, and there are still examples moving through circulation today that most people have no idea how to identify. Hold on, because what I am about to show you next, even I was not ready for this the first time I saw it. The 1961 Jefferson Nickel. And I am going to give you the number right now, because this coin deserves that kind of respect. $62 million. $62 million for a coin that was minted 64 years ago, in a year when a nickel could buy you a phone call or a piece of candy, in a year when nobody imagined that the small change rattling in their pockets would ever mean anything beyond its face value. But here is what is extraordinary about this coin, and here is what most channels will never tell you. The 1961 Jefferson Nickel is not just valuable because of an error. It is valuable because of a combination of factors that converge in one specific production period that has never been replicated in the Jefferson series before or since. Let me take you to Philadelphia in 1961. America was in the middle of one of its most electric moments. The Kennedy administration had just taken office. The space race was accelerating. The Cold War was shaping every conversation and every policy. And there was a feeling in the country of simultaneous optimism and anxiety that ran through every institution, including the United States Mint. The workers who arrived for their shifts at the Philadelphia Mint that year were part of a facility that was under genuine pressure. The country's demand for coinage was climbing steadily. Die preparation and quality control were being stretched, and a series of internal process changes were being implemented that had not been fully tested at scale. Those workers had no idea. They were just doing their jobs. They had no idea that one specific combination of die condition, striking pressure, and planchet quality happening during a short window of their ordinary working day was creating something that numismatists would spend decades studying. Because what defines the rarest and most valuable specimens of the 1961 Jefferson Nickel is a proof-like business strike of such extraordinary surface quality that even trained graders initially struggled to categorize it correctly. Here is what that means in practical terms. And here is why you need to understand this before you look at your own coins. A standard business strike coin, the kind produced for everyday circulation, has surfaces that are slightly grainy and reflective in an ordinary way. A proof coin, produced specifically for collectors using specially polished dies, has mirror-like fields and frosted design elements that create a visual contrast of stunning clarity. What the 1961 Jefferson Nickels rarest specimens show is the characteristics of a proof coin on a business strike planchet. Mirror-like fields, frosted, three-dimensional design elements, a visual depth that makes Jefferson's portrait look almost sculptural, all on a coin that entered ordinary circulation. The mechanical explanation is this. During this specific reduction window, dies that have been prepared with a polish level far exceeding standard business strike specifications were mistakenly pulled from the proof preparation area and loaded into the business strike press. The result was a run of coins struck with the visual quality of proofs, but the weight and composition of standard nickels, and they were bagged, shipped, and distributed into circulation before anyone understood what had happened. She almost rolled it up for the bank. One glance stopped her cold, because that is precisely how the most famous confirmed example of this coin was discovered. A woman sorting through her late father's coin collection in the late 1980s, rolling coins for deposit, when one nickel caught the light differently than all the others. She stopped, she looked, and what she saw under her kitchen lamp, the mirror-like reflection, the extraordinary detail, the way Jefferson's portrait seemed to float above the surface. Mayer put the roll down and called a coin dealer the next morning. The appraisal that followed is now a documented part of Jefferson Nickel numismatic history. And that single discovery opened a conversation in the collector community that has been running ever since. Because if one example survived in a family coin collection, how many others are still out there, unrecognized, unexamined, sitting in drawers and jars and old boxes that nobody has looked through in years? Here is what I want you to do. Go find your Jefferson Nickels from 1961. Hold each one under a direct light source, a lamp, a flashlight, even your phone's flashlight, and tilt the coin slowly. On a standard business strike, the fields will reflect light evenly but without any mirror quality. On a proof-like specimen, the field will reflect light with clarity and depth that is immediately and unmistakably different. You will see your own reflection or the reflection of the room clearly in the coin's flat surfaces. That is your signal. If you see it, and I mean genuinely see it, not just a slightly shinier coin, but a real mirror-quality reflection, set that coin aside immediately and do not let it leave your possession until you have had it professionally examined, because you might be holding something that very few people alive today have ever held. And the person who finds the next confirmed example of this coin, the person sitting on a genuine 1961 proof-like business, strike in top condition, that person could be watching this video right now. Go check your coins tonight, right now, after this video ends, before you do anything else. Because someone watching this is sitting on a fortune they do not even know they have. That someone could be you. I mean that with complete seriousness. And everything I have shared with you today is aimed at making that possibility real for you. Not theoretical, not distant, not something that only happens to other people. The history of this coin is proof that extraordinary things survive in ordinary places, waiting for someone who knows what to look for. Tell me one thing in the comments right now. What is the oldest coin you have ever personally found? I read every single comment. And if what you describe sounds like something worth looking at more closely, I will tell you exactly what to do next.